Sam, you said earlier that the stated objective of going through this process was to redress the imbalance between the channels and the platforms and make sure that more money was being spent in some of these interactive video platforms. I'm curious, you talked about shifting around 15% of the budget into these addressable platforms now, and I'm curious if there's a number you have in mind that you'd like to get your clients to. Is there a target that you're aiming for? And I guess part of that question is, if mobile really is 4 times more effective, then why not go spend $50 million in mobile this year?
I think the answer to your question is it's going to depend on what your client's objectives are and what target audience you're going against. So back to one of the core principles, it's really doing a deep dive and understanding how your target audience is consuming the media and understanding their media usage habits, which ultimately will dictate how far the shift will go. So I don't think we go in with a number in mind. We tend to use some of our proprietary tools at the agencies to help us optimize the mix. And again, we take a look at the outputs, and Megan's touched on it a couple times. We feel it's important to stay flexible and malleable in the process to evaluate the opportunities in the market.
Yeah. I'm curious, as you look back at the 18 months you've been doing this, what are the biggest challenges or problems you've run into, and what do we as an industry need to do differently to overcome some of those? Maybe what does the sell side need to do differently to help us overcome some of those challenges?
I'll tackle that from a sell side. I think there's 3 things. One, I'd say keep the clutter, the commercial clutter, low. I know it's very tempting to add more commercial weight. I'm one that actually loves paying lower CPMs, but I think we spent a lot of time here today talking about the impact. Yeah. We need to be thoughtful in that approach, and it's not just a race to the bottom from a CPM standpoint. We need to be thoughtful of that. Second thing is, I would say from a sell side to consider other ad models. I think that obviously the pre-roll is going to continue to be the workhorse, but if there's other ad models out there that allow for consumer choice, that would be something that we're looking for more of. And then the third thing, and Megan and I were talking about this earlier, is just a better understanding from a seller side of how the consumer is interacting with your property, with your assets across all the different screens. It's not just I have an app. It's how are they interacting across all the different touch points, and then building in research to prove it out.
Yeah. I mean, just to further echo on that research point, as agencies and marketers are trying to figure out their process for evolving planning, research is a really key piece, and it's a big gap for a lot of them. When I've had sell-side partners bring their research department to meet with me directly, I feel like I'm supported and I can get at the data that I need to help tell the story in some cases. I know that there's sort of the keep them behind the screen, but I honestly think that they are the most important piece of you growing your own revenue by allowing them to come forth and work to help us tell this story.